Welcome everybody back here at Veil of Sound. First of all, I'm very happy because for me, this is the last interview that I'm doing in 2025, and I looked it up. I'm coming close to 70 this year. And I'm also very, very happy that we can still continue our Pelagic series from 2025 into 2026. And therefore, let's catch up with one of the new bands on Pelagic. And I'm very, very happy to have Dave Grossmann from New Miserable Experience here on the show. So, Dave, thanks for joining.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, the nerds, the 90s college rock nerds will probably want me to ask this question, Dave. New Miserable Experience, named after the Gin Blossoms record?
Kind of.
Well, then we must get a cover of Hey Jealousy, right?
Maybe. I think. What's the other hit song from that record?
Oh, come on, don't ask me. I only know High Jealousy.
Yeah, I don't think we'll do it. But yeah, there was another hit song from that album which I think was a little bit better, but I can't remember it. I'm not. Yeah, the quick version is that it's kind of named after that band, but it's more because we had a conversation about how the guy who wrote all the songs was really good at writing these kind of like, he was the guitar player who didn't sing. He was really good at kind of writing these kind of like catchy, pretty melodies, but all the songs are super, super negative about him essentially being an alcoholic. Okay. So we were kind of like, oh, like we're doing like pop songs and we're all guys known more for heavy underground music. So we're like, let's kind of like do a little nod to the fact that New Miserable Experience album is this catchy pop album, but it's really negative.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah,
it really is. Yeah. The first thing that we normally do here on the Veil of Sound is the plug of the day. And so I also will give you a moment to think about which band or project that you are not personally involved in you would like to plug because they need or they should get more attention. I will plug a project by one of our friends here. Anybody or everybody knows If These Trees Could Talk, but not enough people know that Michael Socrates has another band, which is called Brave Arrows. A wonderful project, heavily influenced by an artist that we might touch upon a little later, heavily influenced by Stabbing Westward. So I'm very, very happy to, first of all, promote Brave Arrows a little bit and also hint at Stabbing Westward. And now, Dave, you have a chance to give us a band or a project that you would like to plug.
So let me throw out my friends in Jenny Hanover. They recently did a remix for us, and they're longtime friends. So it's two guys, Randall Taylor, who's from one of my favorite acts, Amulets, which is like a really cool ambient project, and Eric Neffler, who's a longtime friend. He actually did the artwork for the Rosetta Year of No Light East of the Wall split. He's done artwork for everybody. Most famously, he did the album artwork for one of the Have a Nice Life records, which is the album title slipping my mind right now. But incredible artist. Jenny Hanover's
It cannot be Deaf Consciousness because that is a 16th century painting. It must be one of the others. I'll have to look it up. We will provide the link to that record here, underneath this video. Yeah, cool. I also looked it up. And, you know, Eric is involved in your new record. We'll touch upon the guest list of a record in a bit. Let me get that straight. Gild the Lily out in a few days on January 23rd. It's already your third full length, isn't it?
Second full length. We had an EP and then This is the second full length. But I guess that if you count the remixes and instrumentals of Absent Lovers, I guess maybe it is the third one. But yeah, like kind of the second full length of full originals, and then we did an EP that was our first release, which was like a 5-song EP.
Yeah. And then it's very interesting to look at the lineup, and some of the real underground nerds might have recognized Mr. Grossmann because he's in a semi-famous band called Rosetta. By the way, if you guys ever release something new, here, the interview. So, and it's not only you from Rosetta, it's also BJ from Rosetta. We have Brody from Rivers of Nile. We have Brad from Revocation. And we also have that little multi-instrumentalist, Joshua Cost. But the original foundation was just you and Josh, right?
Kind of, yeah. So we kind of started first just having conversations. This is like during the COVID things. And we asked a couple other guys from some other bands that people would be familiar with, but I don't want to shout them out and put them on the spot right now because they obviously declined. And then, I kind of was like, well, let's ask BJ. And BJ got on board. And then I was like, okay, well, I could play the bass, but Brett is going back to when he was in a band called the Postman Syndrome, which later became East of the Wall. He's been like a friend of mine for over 20 years. And he's one of my favorite musicians. So I was like, let's get Brett. And then we did the 5-song EP, and Brody heard it. And I was kind of familiar with Brody, but not really. I don't think we'd ever met in person, but Brett had done a lot of touring with him. And we were just like, okay, well, I really admire Brody's writing and Rivers of Nile, so we got him on board. And that's kind of how things came together.
And somehow it's a pretty much Philly thing, isn't it? It's a lot of people from the Philadelphia area, right?
Yeah, I mean, so pretty much all of us are. So Brody's a little further out from us, but he's in Pennsylvania. He's about 2 hours outside of Philadelphia. The rest of us, minus Brett. Brett is in Richmond, Virginia. But the rest of us, we're the three of us are kind of outside, right outside Philly in the suburbs or in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm. How far is Richmond? Also 3 hours, something like that, or more?
It's about 3 to 4 hours. Yeah.
So do you then get together often on a regular rehearsal basis, or?
We've actually only all been together in a room together one time. So we only file trade. That's the whole way that this thing works.
That's also the way that you and Josh started this thing, right? Trading stuff back and forth.
Yeah, because it was COVID time, so there wasn't really any other options, and it was kind of like we were cooped up, and was like, okay, let's try something. And then, obviously, as things started to open up, it became possible to get in person, but it just kind of made sense for this project to do it this way, mostly because, well, Brett is no longer in Revocation, but Revocation was a heavy touring band, and obviously Rivers of Nile was a heavy touring band. So it kind of just made sense to do it as a file trading thing, and that's still what we do.
And now let's cut to the music. Of course, people love genres. Journalists hate it because it's hard to pinpoint a band like yours. And for musicians, it's basically superfluous because no musician sits down and says okay, let's write a synth rock track. Nobody does that. Or very, very few people do. So I was thinking okay, how could we label this? And the only thing that in a way overall really made sense to me was, okay, let's call this alternative rock. Would you be okay with that? Or would you say it doesn't get us?
No, I think that's fair. I've been kind of calling it experimental pop music. And when I think of that, I think of things like Massive Attack and Bjork, because I think that they're kind of doing pop songs, but it's very untraditional pop music and very experimental. But I think alternative rock is a fair kind of network, is kind of casts a wide net and kind of works well as a descriptor for the band.
It's one of those boxes that basically could be everything, I have to admit. But the problem that might occur is, there are too many things on the record that are very, very different from each other. I mean, we have a track like Yours to Bury, which is basically nearly drone-ish. It's ambient shoegaze. A lot of the stuff sounds like really good 80s pop music, really good 80s. And with emphasis on the synth stuff. We'll also get to that in a bit. But then we have something like Perfect Things, which sounds like straight up post-punk. So it's very, very difficult to pinpoint it. And I also had to say that, without looking at if I hadn't looked at the lyrics, it would have been difficult for me to see a red thread. But after looking at the lyrics, I was like, okay, there is like a red thread going through it, but that red thread is the lyrical content. And it's interesting because in one of the press kits, you referred to your music as sad boy music.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't sound at all like any of the bands that you were dropping or that were dropped there for you. We had
Yeah.
Radiohead, we had what was it? Radiohead
Probably
was
Puma
dropped.
Blue.
Yes, exactly. And there was another
Jeff
one.
Buckley.
Massive Attack was dropped.
Massive Attack,
So
yeah.
I was like, okay, first of all, these acts don't sound the same anyway. But is the connecting thread really this like that lyrical content? That is the red thread for the record, right?
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. And yeah, I mean, obviously all those things are diverse. And that's not even something that I started saying. I remember I don't remember, well, I've loved Jeff Buckley for forever. And like there's actually a reference on an old Rosetta record to Jeff Buckley, which a few people have caught. I don't want to say what it is. Hopefully some people stumble upon it. But yeah, I remember just
you do know
years
that
ago.
now the nerd inside me after this interview will be like ding, 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 ding.
Awesome. Well,
It
yeah,
will be a long night.
Somebody being
Don't tell,
like,
don't tell. Let people work it out.
yeah, yeah. I remember just somebody being like Jeff Buckley's sad boy music. And then I remember somebody saying that about the Puma Blue album and then like Crosses, Black Queen, Radiohead.
But yeah, one of the other
boy.
things was Deftones that was mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, all that stuff. People being like sad boy, sad boy, sad boy. So yeah, I think it's more of like maybe like I tried to write some positive lyrics and just wasn't happening. It's just like and musically, I mean, even Rosetta, while there is this kind of like uplifting thing, it's kind of like melodically sad as well. It's just like something that's ingrained in the music that I'm involved in. And yeah, I mean, it's just like an aura of sadness around it, even though I don't think I'm a sad person myself. I feel like that music I'm drawn to, I feel like it's challenging to listen to things that are sad or angry that I don't get when I listen to something that's more positive.
Yeah. That is something that I also wanted to drop because, you know, first of all, you don't seem like a sad boy. And second of all, I was like, how can somebody work with Michael Bublé and Lin-Manuel Miranda and refer himself to as sad boy? So let's be clear, musically, you definitely ain't, right?
Yeah, yeah.
See, I did my research. But something that I definitely liked, and that is something that is really cool on the record, is the references. You are sometimes sonically, sometimes lyrically referring to stuff that is really cool. For example, there is this, probably even like a programmatic line on the record, Infinite Sadness. And you, of course, know which record automatically pops on in my head.
I hope it's the one that it should be. So
yeah, it's Smashing Pumpkins, right?
Yeah.
Is that something that also influenced you as, like, first of all, the duo, but then as a band, you know, where you say like, okay, that is music that we can refer to, that all of us like?
I mean, to a certain extent, some of those conversations happen. Like, I mean, I would say me, Brody, and Josh tend to have a little bit more of like nerd out sessions with particular bands, but like, we all, have you ever heard that band Crippling Alcoholism?
Of course.
Yeah, like, I mean,
who just got signed by the Flanzer, and I'm still hoping everybody who knows us knows that we will do a Roadburn special for next year. And that is one of the bands that I definitely want to have for that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that's one of the few bands. We all are obsessed with that band.
Yeah.
Maybe minus BJ, but BJ likes them. But like me, Brody, Josh, Brett, we're like obsessed with that band. And
Righteous.
Yeah,
Righteous.
Yeah, you know, so like, yeah, we talk somewhat about that stuff. But I mean, I don't know. I'm sure that Smashing Pumpkins has been brought up at some point, but I latched onto that Infinite Sadness thing.
Yeah.
Really going back to the last record and then just sort of came. But I mean, like, I'm throwing out an old school reference on the last song, Monument, on Wake Lift.
Mm-hmm.
That song, which is a Rosetta record, obviously, heavily influenced by Siamese Dream. The song Soma on Siamese Dream, at least my part, was really heavily influenced by that. I don't know if Matt or BJ or Armand would obviously say the same thing, but we all listen to Smashing Pumpkins. So like, but yeah, I remember back in 2006 when we were writing that song being like, really like, oh, this is giving me the feeling of Smashing Pumpkins, my Siamese Dream. So yeah, like, I mean, it's just like something was said during the last record where I just like latched on to like the infinite sadness as a saying. And then we were writing the song and the words just kind of came together.
And then let's cut to some of the songs. Some of the songs, as diverse as they are, and I am very happy that they are being kept together by the lyrical content.
Yeah.
But they are very, very diverse. We have already spoken about Yours to Bury, Perfect Things, and some of the other tracks. I'm like, of course, they're also kept together musically through the tuning, through the programmed beats, through the overall soundscapes. But how difficult was it for you guys to keep all those horses in check? Because they're basically running from here to there to everywhere.
Yeah, so to a certain extent, I think it's easy because I think that our other bands kind of have a sound and we're really good at those sounds. And I think that the whole thing is this allows us to explore all the other sounds that we want. Mm-hmm. But I feel like, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the next batch of songs sound like, because I think we're starting to figure out what we're better and worse at and what things we can create. But yeah, to a certain extent, some of it was easy. I mean, I'll say this, usually the music is either written by, for the most part, the initial ideas is the meat and potatoes of the songs are either Brody or Josh. And I'm kind of writing over what they send, and that's kind of what BJ and Brett are doing as well. So yeah, like, yeah, I mean, it kind of just works, I think, because again, I think there's a kind of a level of freedom in being able to explore these sounds, but then we're also like have enough experience to be like, okay, but how can we tie it together in a certain way? Yeah, and like you said, the lyrics and those kind of was one of the main ways to tie it together. But like Dillinger Escape Plan's a band that has a very obviously diverse sound and genre jump. Yeah. Like, I kind of think that if you do that, you in some ways you're more free because you're like, hey, well, if we want to do a song next album that sounds like, I don't know, let's pick a heavy band I love, Breathe or Resist. Like, let's say we wanted to do a song that sounds like Breathe or Resist. Yeah. Everybody'd be like, oh, well, they just do whatever they want anyway. Right? Yeah. So on some levels, it's more freeing and easier. But even if we did that, we would still figure out a way to make it tie together and to whatever we're doing.
Yeah, to make it clear, it's not a negative thing that I'm mentioning, you know.
Yeah, no.
Some bands are really good at keeping all their horses in one line. Some bands have been doing that for 50 years. I'm looking at you, AC/DC. And other bands just like yours, they don't put all their money into one box. And that is a cool thing because it shows that if there is one thing or one character trait that I would definitely attribute to New Miserable Experience, it is courage. You know, because let's be honest, you know, if you write songs that are that diverse, it might be a little bit more difficult to get as many people into your audience as possible because, you know, like there will be people who love Yours to Bury and who will then say of some of the other stuff like, no, not mine.
Yeah.
You know, like think of Ordinary People. By the way, you do know that it's like indirect reference to Duran Duran, like Ordinary World, right?
I did not know that, but
we'll come to that in a moment. But you know, it's interesting, you know, like and of course it's a very, very brave thing. Another brave thing is getting one of the animals behind the drum kit, BJ, and then programming all the drums.
Yeah. So
why? Are you sick and tired of him sweating behind the kit?
Oh, of course not. I mean, I mean, so him and I have obviously we're like, he's kind of one of my main creative partners. Obviously, I mean, we've been doing it together for even prior to Rosetta. Him and I had bands, but yeah, some of it is sonically is trying to chase some of that Depeche Mode. And have you heard Greg from Dillinger's kind of pop band, The Black Queen?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, which has got the guy from Telefon Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
And like the drums are like a texture. And that I think comes from it not being live drums. And that's kind of just where the thinking was. It's kind of like, how do you get that vibe and that feeling of those things? Or like Crosses, which is Chino's side project, or Team Sleep is another Chino side project. All those bands, like the drums are lots of times programmed. It's like a texture, or it's electronic. BJ does play some electronic drums as well on the album that then obviously gets messed with sonically. But like it provides like a texture that's a little different for the percussion that I love. You mentioned Stabbing Westward. Stabbing Westward was great at doing that as well. Nine Inch Nails, like it's all those bands. Like that's kind of like one of the things that we were thinking of with this project. Again, is like kind of like another thing that kind of ties things together is the drum sounds a little bit, even though there is some diversity in it, the fact that it's not an actual drum kit, and kind of figuring out ways to make the drums while they're still the percussion. How do you make them have like a texture that kind of like adds a vibe to a song?
But of course, we also should agree to the fact that if you are using programmed beats, the positive thing is that you can align it to the T. You know, you can make them sound perfectly the same, and then, of course, it flows directly into the textural aspect of the beats. I like that a lot. And there, let me look at my own things. Yeah, there is one of the tracks that is Ataraxia, which is very interesting because of all the things that are happening without people maybe automatically noticing it. For example, the thing that really caught me were the very mellow keys in the background, the piano parts, that are then completely juxtaposed with the dark programmed beats. So you have this mellow, nice little floaty stuff. Is that something that takes a long while for you to come up with? Okay, how do we get this thing working?
So that song actually came together pretty easily. But like, yeah, it's like, I mean, sometimes it's more difficult and sometimes it's more easy. Like that's a song initiated as a Brody idea. And we were talking about, me, Josh, and Brody, about it kind of having a similar vibe to The Rip by Portishead. And yeah, like, I don't know, we just, it kind of has a weird jazzy thing going on, but it's dark, like you said. Yeah, and I don't know, it just that one kind of just fell into place very easily. And I did the bulk of my real vocals recorded with Chris from East of the Wall, his house. But that song, I did the vocals with a local friend who like lives up the corner from me. And he does lots of like video game music for a living. And he kind of just was messing around with his piano and was like, oh, I'll just do these things. Like, just lay down all those like little ideas you have and we'll kind of just pluck out the ones we think fit. So he's doing some of those like piano licks in there. But yeah, that song kind of just came together really quickly. And yeah, it started as a Brody idea and it kind of just, reminded us right away of Portishead, and we kind of built it as this kind of like dark, moody track.
The other thing that strikes me about Ataraxia is the the thing that sounds like strings, and I'm very sure it's not real strings, it's programmed or taken from a synth. That is a very cool thing, and that also gives it a very, very special vibe. Something that struck me when I was looking at the track listing was the position of Yours to Bury. It's not really at the beginning, it's not really in the middle, but it's a little bit between. It's like at the end of the second third of the record.
Yeah.
And to me, it sounded or it seemed a little bit like a palate cleanser. Like, okay, we have had so many things by now. We'll take this, and everything that comes after can be digested and taken in from a very, very clean point of view. Was that the aim of, giving us something completely different? Because Yours to Breather is, for me, the outstanding track on the record in many, many ways.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you nailed it right on the head. And I can obviously tell, and it's obviously no doubt about it, that you're a huge music nerd along with me. So the thing is like,
I could turn the camera around and show you the living room. And, yeah, yes.
Right. So, like, people that genuinely like music like full albums, and they want the album to give you a vibe and a feeling, and like things need to be placed in certain positions to give a certain feeling, right? And you said it right, like it's a palate cleanser. And it kind of like and it was like we were thinking, like, do we make it 6? Do we make it 7? Like, where does it kind of fit? And we ultimately decided on track 7. But like, I mean, in the streaming age, I think that lots of people are not fans of albums, which sucks.
Yeah.
And it's like, but like, you're just making it disposable. Like, it's now your songs are like McDonald's hamburgers. Like, I don't want my songs or an album to be a McDonald's hamburger. I want it to be an experience. Like, there's something special about putting like a vinyl record on and just sitting down and getting lost in the zone and being like,
or even if it's just a CD, listening to something from start to finish. I totally get what you mean. Although I have to admit, for the younger generation, when I look at the way that my daughter listens to music, of course, not in an album kind of context, very rarely. But there is something about the way that at least she and a lot of her friends consume music. Is like an endless loop of one and the same track. And at the end, they do understand the track. They maybe understand the track more than I do. But of course, they don't understand records. Attention span deficit. I have a few more things before we come to the quickfire round. And one thing is, very often people talk about music as cathartic. Like, okay, I wanna go to, let's say, an agnostic front record, an agnostic front concert, and I want to leave it all out in the pit. I am not sure whether this would be possible at a New Miserable Experience show because of the vast difference between the tracks. So that is not something that you are aiming for?
That's a good question. So this is something, I mean, I think obviously both of us grew up and currently listen to lots of heavy music.
And it's getting worse and worse.
But like, for me, I think that like Jeff Buckley was equally as heavy in some ways for me as listening to something like Botch. It was just different. Like, it's emotionally draining and heavy.
Totally.
I kind of would hope that that's what this project's doing more. So it's just different. I want it to, like, again, but like, some of this stuff is always out of your hands. So like, the reality is that, like, this is why at the end of the day, and obviously Rosetta does the same thing, and New Miserable Experience does the same thing. You just write the songs that in the moment you want to write and create. And you say the things that you want to say. And then after that, it's kind of out of your hands. You go, even though I think this will have this reaction, or I feel this way about it, how you're going to interpret it or feel about it is vastly, vastly different. And I can't control that, you know? And I hope that some people like have kind of like a leaving it all out there emotionally, not in the same way that you can at like an agnostic front show, which is like you get a physical release and kind of an emotional release. But yeah, like maybe
that's exactly what I was thinking about. Yes,
yeah.
And in that aspect, in that sense, of course, it can have a cathartic effect from a mental and psychological point of view. From a physical point of view, I mean, like some of the tracks are highly danceable, but I'm not sure whether it would give me the same cathartic effect that I have when going to a Bach concert or listening to an agnostic or going to an agnostic front show. I know what you mean. By the way, have you ever performed live? No, you haven't, right?
No, we haven't. So there's some talks about this maybe happening next year, but it's Brody's schedule Rivers is on the road a lot. But we'll see. Like, I mean, the conversations have picked up with more intensity as of late. So I think it's more realistic that it might happen in 2026, but we'll see. Like, there's no promises just yet.
Yeah, like the halftime show for the opening home game of the Phillies, something like that, or the Eagles, right? Although I think it would sound better in Lincoln Financial Field. Anyway, and I've already mentioned it. There is a lot of eclectic stuff on there, but it always has a certain elegance. Was it important for you that the record just sounds, in the best of possible meanings, nice?
Not
nice, the little brother of shitty and uninteresting.
I know exactly what you're saying. No, so kind of.
Did you tell Andrew, make it sound good?
No, so I've just worked with Andrew enough that I just know Andrew's going to do his thing and it's always going to sound great no matter what. Yeah. So I kind of knew that. But this actually comes from Eric, who's in Rosetta, and it's in regards to my voice. And I also think this is one of the main reasons why I've always not sang all that much in Rosetta, is that I just have like a kind of clean sounding singing voice. Yeah. And I think that kind of lends itself to that sort of kind of niceness and cleanliness, for lack of a better term, that happens on some of these records. It's kind of just makes the vibe kind of like, where you just have like a more, I guess, nice sound because of maybe the tonality of my voice. But yeah, I mean, we're just letting Andrew, as far as mixing go, just do his thing. I trust him. I mean, he's done a couple Rosetta records, and he's mixed every single of these New Miserable Experience songs. I mean, I love working with him. The relationship goes back now since like 2008 or 2009, something like that. Yeah, and I mean, it's like he's special. I mean, I don't know if you were familiar with some of the albums he's done outside of ours, but like Julie Christmas, Unsane. Right, like those are
for everybody. We're talking about Andrew Schneider, who's also a member of Julie's touring band. Yeah, also has a certain connection to her. But the guy knows his stuff, you know. Like
like people don't realize that he's mixed a bunch of those Blue Man Group albums because he's mostly known. Yeah, he's mostly known for the heavy music. Like, but that's the thing is he's old school. He kind of was mentored back in the day by Steve Albini. So it's like kind of like it's this it just works so much because like we're all, in that age range where we want some of that old school kind of thing. Like the album, all the New Miserables experience stuff gets mixed to tape. So it's like all this old school stuff, but then he runs stuff still through a computer, obviously. So yeah, I don't know. It's just the perfect thing. And like, he kind of just gets the vibe we're going for. And I think that leads to some of the cleanness and niceness of the sound that you're talking about. And it's also just, I think some of it is just like, even the songs that are maybe a little more dirty and heavy, the way I'm presenting my vocals just lead to that sort of niceness to a certain extent.
The last thing, oh no, I have one more. So one of the last things that I would like to talk about is the title of a record, because maybe you explain that. The title of a record, and I think also Payback from God and Running the Fear of It Dry. As far as I understood it, they're all interlinked, all those three things. Can you maybe quickly explain what is the background of that?
So there's a little connection between all those, but there's actually those songs are actually Payback from God is, I was reading this book called One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This, which is about essentially, it's by Omar El Akkad. I might be butchering the pronunciation of his name.
Yeah, the guy who wrote American War?
Yes, yeah. So
great book.
So essentially, it's his breakup letter. This is a quote from him. He's like, the book is my breakup letter to the United States, essentially, because of everything that's happening with Palestine and Israel. And I was reading it, and there's a direct quote, which is the first line of the song, which is "The dead dig wells in the living." That's straight from the book. Like right away, I just had this instant, like, kind of like, the words just poured right out. And so that song is about that. Running the Fear of It Dry is actually about my dislike of Elon Musk and billionaires. But the whole concept of Gild the Lily, somebody mentioned gilding the lily, which is to take something that's great and try to already make it better.
Yeah.
And my thought process when I first heard that was like, people do that all the time. But when they do it, they tend to ruin things and not actually make it better.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the general theme of the album. So again, like, it kind of ties together with the things we're saying, because Elon Musk, I think he maybe thinks he's making things better.
A lot of people think that, yeah.
But he's not. He's not. And his approach of messing with things that were already fine tends to make things worse for the bulk of people. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the big thing that idea for the record came together first. And actually, that song "Perfect Things," that song was originally called "Gild the Lily," and kind of that was the song that was really kind of like directly like talking about that idea very clearly. But then, yeah, that theme kind of worked its way through some other songs as well. Which, yeah, I mean, like, whether I'm talking about like relationships, like romantic relationships, or like ordinary people, and Running the Fear of It Dry are essentially about, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of capitalism, period, but late stage capitalism, I think, is possibly the undoing of humanity. And those two songs, again, that's kind of really, it's really about those two songs are really directly about that.
Yeah, I was rereading some of Umberto Eco's theories on fascism, and yeah, we are living in a day and age when the peak of capitalism brings about fascism.
Yeah,
sorry to say that.
100%. No, I mean, it's 100% accurate.
Then the question is, I mean, like we've already said, it might not be physical sparks that you are sending out in order to people go out and like physically, how should I say, try to fight the system, but definitely mentally, like, is there a hope in your doings as a band that you might spark a little thought process, might start conversation about how to change all that shit?
Yeah, I mean, that's always the hope. But like I said earlier, like you kind of have to put it out there and then hope that people hear the same thing that or think or feel the same way you do, but it's kind of out of your control.
Yeah.
Like it's like funny, like Rage Against the Machine, obviously, like all these right wing people that are like, oh, Rage Against the Machine, what do you mean that they're left?
Now sucks.
Yeah. And I'm like, you're like, what? Like, did you listen to Zach De La Rocha speak? Like, did you listen to what he was writing about? Like, but like, yeah, like it's out of your control.
Yeah, they did. They did listen, but they only listened to "Fuck You, I Won't." They only listened to that, but they didn't listen to stuff like "Europe, My Rope to Swing On." You know, like they didn't listen or didn't listen to stuff like "Know Your Enemy," or maybe even because I still say that Evil Empire is more political than the debut album. They didn't listen to stuff like The Program of Viet Now or Bulls on Parade. You know, they didn't listen to that. Yeah, but I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, like it kind of it's out of your control once you put it out there, which it kind of sucks sometimes. I don't think it sucks in the context of what I'm doing, but like, I mean, I know plenty of records. Like, again, I don't really listen to Rage Against the Machine much anymore, but when I was younger, I definitely listened to them. Right.
And let's be honest, there are moments when we put on some of the songs and we're still like, yeah.
Yeah. But you're like, wait, what? Like, how did like, you're like extremely on the opposite end of what these songs are about. How could you listen to them and take something out of it? It's like, yeah, it's just out of your control.
Yeah, because I think that a lot of people suffer from something that I always like to call selective hearing. You know, like they only hear the stuff that they want to hear. It's like they are creating their own bubble. They don't even need an algorithm anymore. You know, like they only hear the "fuck you" and that's all. You know.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And that also ties back into. And I'm very sure that was also the case in the 90s. We just didn't recognize it. You know, that stuff was played on the radio, and therefore people listened to the singles and thought, okay, I know that band.
Yeah.
But they never really listened to the record.
Yeah.
They listened to the singles, and that was it. Yeah, that's probably one of those problems too. So Dave, one last thing, and that is the track list. I mean, like the project itself is already a great mix of different bands or people from different bands. But then you are including Eric from Jenny Hanover, as we've already mentioned.
Yeah.
Chris from East of a Wall, who's also participating. Mike from Rosetta is putting in some stuff.
Yeah.
And we have Andrew Schneider. I mean, like with a lot of these things, it's just, can we say this is like a circle of friends kind of project?
100%. Yeah. And like, I mean, I think every band and every project has its own weird vibes.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say weird, but it has its own vibe. Like Rosetta is a very family dynamic.
Yeah, because you also live close together, aren't you? It's like, as far as I remember, most of the Rosetta guys are very.
Yeah, and we've also been a band for a really long time, but that's always just been the dynamic. It's always felt a little bit more like family, and this project feels a little bit more like friends. And then Josh and I actually did a like kind of Dillinger Escape Plan album-esque sounding band that put out one record on Translation Loss back in maybe 2011, and the vibe of that project was different. Like it didn't feel necessarily like I just felt like we're just doing a project. Like Josh and I are obviously friends, but the other guys, I was kind of like, I'm friendly with you, but I don't know if we're friends. I definitely don't feel like you're like family, like we're like brothers or anything like that. It just felt like, oh, okay, we're just guys working together on a project, which is probably why only one album even happened. Right. Like, but yeah, just each project has its own kind of dynamic. And this is definitely one where it's like, yeah, it kind of feels more like almost like a collective. Cause like Chris, I go to Chris to record the vocals from East of the Wall. And I've been friends with him since, again, him and Brett were in the Postman Syndrome, which I don't know if you've ever heard that album, but they only put out one record back in the day on a label called Now or Never. which is famous for putting out the first Dillinger Escape Plan EP. But yeah, like I've just been friends with those guys forever. It's just like, why wouldn't I want to work with Chris? I've known him for forever. His ability to kind of like give me cool ideas on the fly, his ability to get me to give a great performance, his delivery when he thinks I don't give a good performance, I need to do it again. He just knows that dynamic, and we work well with each other. I know how to work well with Andrew Schneider. Eric Neffler, again, same thing. Relationship goes back really far. It's just one of those things where, it kind of feels like a collection of friends. Obviously, Armine, as I call him, has been in Rosetta with me and BJ for forever. Yeah, like it kind of just makes, it's like a friend collective almost, and it expands beyond the five of us. And it's kind of fun and cool as a result.
So first of all, thanks for all the insight into the new record. Everybody, Gild the Lily, out in a few days on Pelagic. The first one on Pelagic, right? The first one was on Translation Lost, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you're right.
So will this be a split release with like Translation Lost taking the American stuff, or is Pelagic also doing the Pelagic all the way?
It's all Pelagic. Yeah, Pelagic all the way on this one.
So, but of course, everybody knows, we always love the quick fire round at the end. So I have been talking about elegant music, and I've been mentioning and dropping the 80s. And one thing, and I don't know why, something that came to my mind was like the New Romantics from like the early 80s.
Yeah.
And so I want to give you two of those bands, and you have to choose which one you rather, if any of those, but which one would you rather listen to right now? Duran Duran or Spandau Ballet?
Ooh, so I'm going to go Duran Duran, but only because, strangely enough, I don't know why this happened, but somehow Andrew Snyder and I, maybe like a month ago, we both, for some reason, were listening to Girls on Film at the same time, unironically, and it just kind of happened. And he like posted a story on his Instagram making fun of it, and I was at the gym, and for some reason, I just put that on for some reason. But I actually think that Spandau Ballet, they're famous for that song "True," right?
Yeah.
I think that song's probably better than anything Duran Duran did, but I'll go with Duran Duran anyway.
I'm thinking of what was the second, just like at the beginning where you said like, okay, that is like they had a second hit album or second hit single, Spandau Ballet had another one, wasn't it? Like something like Through the Barricades or something like that.
They did another one. I don't remember what it is myself, but I know that song "True." I think that's
that is probably one of those classic '80s ballads, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move a little bit in time, a little further into the '80s, and I'll give you a band that you've already dropped, and that was Depeche Mode. I'll give you two of our records, and you have to choose. Oh, the other one was Gold, by the way. It's True and Gold and Through the Barricades. That are the three Spandau Ballet tracks. Depeche Mode. My favorite Depeche Mode track of all time is On Some Great Reward. Not going to say which one. So I'll give you Some Great Reward versus Ultra.
Ooh.
Yeah, I didn't want to make it easy and give you Violator versus anything else. That's too easy.
I think I'm going to go with Ultra, which I think. Yeah, I'm going to go with Ultra.
Yeah, as a record,
is better. Which I think Chino Moreno, obviously from the Deftones, is famous for one of the songs on Some Great Reward is his favorite Depeche Mode song, and he said it a bunch, but I can't remember which song he said is his favorite.
Oh wait, they also covered, didn't they cover a Depeche Mode track on one of the cover records for Depeche Mode?
They probably did.
Look it up.
Because
it's obvious. It's obvious.
Chino's obsessed with Depeche Mode. He's obsessed with Cure and Depeche Mode, and he's always been. I honestly, so I love Deftones, and I've always loved the Deftones. But I think the reason why the Deftones were like, because at first they were kind of a little bit of a new metal band, but Definitely. I think the thing that always kind of set them apart was like you could tell that Chino kind of had some love for stuff like Depeche Mode and The Cure. And then obviously as the band started to get more
Don't forget
mature,
something like Cocteau Twins, you know, like
oh yeah.
the dude is a shoegaze. I mean, like you already hear it from the way that he sings. He is a shoegaze and synth pop guy.
Yeah.
You know, it was I think if it needed anything, then I think it would be quiet and drive far away. You know, like that showed it perfectly. You know, and with White Pony again, if you listened to White Pony as a record, you would have picked that up easily.
Yeah.
So again, we creep a little bit more into the late 80s. And I think an act that everybody should love because it's just awesome. 9 Inch Nails. I'll give you Pretty Hate Machine versus The Downward Spiral.
So I'm gonna go Pretty Hate Machine for one reason.
Head like a
I have my daughter who's 11. She has for a very long time always sung along to some of the songs on Pretty Hate Machines. Mostly Head Like a Hole, but I remember her being like 4 years old and singing along to that song. So I'm like, yeah, that song has, and that album has some special personal memories for me.
Completely understand.
Though, me and Brody have talked about, we both think that song, A Warm Place on Downward Spiral, is maybe the best 9 Inch Nails song. We both love that song.
There was a mashup of A Warm Place, and somebody put vocals by Henry Rollins over it.
Oh wow, I gotta check this out.
I've only seen that mashup once in the let's say semi-legal download. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
And if I find it, I'm going to send you a link. No problem. No, the file. I'm very sure I still have it somewhere. That was awesome. You know, like hearing Roland's voice over that thing. It was just like, ooh, yeah. Creeping forward, Björk. Debut or Homogenic?
So, Unravel's on Homogenic, right? Or got my albums confused?
I think. Let me have a look.
Unravel's one of my favorite songs of all time. So, I think that's on Homogenic. But I could have my albums.
I also think so. It's number 3. Yes, it's right after Yoga and before Bachelor.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to go because Unravel's. So yeah, Unravel's one of the greatest songs ever written. And I think All Is Full of Love closes that album too, right? Homogenic,
so.
Right?
Pretty sure, yeah.
And well, I don't know if you know this. There's like 2 versions of All Is Full of Love, and there's I believe on the initial version of that album, it's the real stripped down version that doesn't have all the extra stuff, which is that's the better version of the song in my opinion. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go. Just Unravel would take it for me no matter what.
Yeah, and All Is Full of Love is also one of those tracks where you don't even notice, okay, this is a cover.
Yeah.
By the way, fun fact, do you know which really famous noise rock band only ever in their life did one cover and it was a Björk cover?
I don't know. I'm about to probably get excited about something though.
Helmet.
Oh, yeah. So what's funny is, so Rosetta covered a Helmet song. I'm the one guy kind of in the band. That's why
I'm mentioning it.
Yeah, I don't actually listen to Helmet all that much. So usually one of those other guys would have to put it on. I don't actually listen to Helmet a ton in my own personal listening. But now I have to go and track it down.
It's Army of Me, I think.
Oh wow, that's a good one to pick. That makes sense for them.
Yeah, totally. So next one, Massive Attack. And I'm not going to give you records. I'm going to give you songs from the same album, both on Mezzanine. And I was lucky to hear them at a concert, not next to each other, but very close to each other. Teardrop and Inertia Creeps.
This is probably going to be shocking, but I'm going to have to go with Teardrop. I feel like it's such a famous song. So going for the song that's like the most well-known song, but yeah, there's something just that comes back to what we were talking about a song being emotionally heavy and draining.
Yeah. Yeah.
That song has that kind of emotional heaviness that's just like it's hard to not listen to that and feel.
Yeah, also musically, I mean, like, come on, how often do we have a trip hop track that just through the first few shifty sounds lets you know, okay, I'm here. And I'm like, this is this one track. And you will always, for always and all times, I automatically know that it's me. It's always Teardrop. Although I have to say that Inertia Creeps live was better.
I mean, I could see that being the case.
Yeah.
I have actually never seen Massive Attack live. That's something that I would love to have happen, but I've never seen them live.
Yeah. So I have one more music question and then two Philly-related questions.
Right.
And in order to wrap it all up, you know, the 80s and the 90s and the early zeros, I thought I give you two versions of the same track. Blue Monday, originally by New Order, but there is this infamous cover by Orgy. Which one would you rather put on right now?
I don't want to listen to the Orgy one ever. I'm good on that.
Okay.
I actually thought you were going to go with because didn't Stabbing Westward covered Bizarre Love Triangle.
Yes,
that's actually where I thought you were going to go, and I actually think that I like the Stabbing Westward Bizarre Love Triangle cover more than the original.
I don't know why there is a Bizarre Love Triangle record, but by a cover by I think it's a Spanish band. It's like an indie rock version, and there's a girl singing, and it's just so sweet. I like it even more than the original one. I don't know why. Yeah.
Awesome. I'll have to find that as well.
Yeah. It's like nerd picking, right? So I said we have two Philly questions. Which team are you rather rooting for, the Phillies or the Eagles?
The Eagles. I don't watch much baseball. I watch a little bit of football, but I don't watch much baseball. So Eagles all the way for me. Yeah.
Some of the worst fans that I've ever saw on TV. I was like, you're doing this to your own team? You're throwing chairs or seats into? Okay. And the last one, being a foodie in and of myself, Philly cheesesteak or a hoagie? What is more likely to get David Grossmann's appetite wet?
So I'd say a cheesesteak, but probably because I only probably eat like one or two cheesesteaks a year.
Yeah.
So yeah, like
if you do it all the time, then it's like
there's people that do it all the time. I don't know how they do.
I'm very sure.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of a sloppy, gross sandwich, but it just works. It's like fatty ribeye, cheap cheese, and fried onions, and you're like, why would this be what it? But it's got some charm to it.
Yeah, definitely. But let's be honest, the hoagie is also not a very sophisticated kind of sandwich.
Yeah, you are 100% correct. The thing is, though, with the hoagie is that there's a lot more diversity to it. So, like, I'm more likely.
A cheesesteak is a cheesesteak. You cannot reinvent it that much.
Yeah,
that's true.
And I just there's a better chance that I would eat a hoagie in the next 3 weeks than a cheesesteak. I already ate. Like, I had a cheesesteak maybe 3 weeks ago. I'm probably not going to touch one for 6 months. But it's great. It's just like, it's rich and heavy. I only want it like once or twice a year. That's enough for me.
Yeah, because you need another 6 months to digest it.
Yeah.
So David, thanks for all the insight into the record. Thanks for the details. For everybody, again, Gild the Lily is out in a few days on Pelagic. Please listen to it. It might sound a little different from what Pelagic already started out with several decades ago, but it fits the way that Robin is building his roster to the T, and very much looking forward to what people will say about the record. David, your chance for final last words.
I mean, main thing is thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. I think you just also maybe you just did an interview maybe with Eugene Robinson, right? Or do I have that correct?
We do interviews with Eugene on a very regular basis because first of all, the guy likes to talk, I like to talk, we both like to talk a lot to each other, and he's just so prolific at the moment. So yeah, we have done quite a few Robinson interviews. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm a massive fan. I'm lucky enough to also be able to call him a friend. The last time I saw him, we actually were doing jiu-jitsu together because we're both black belts in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. We're doing it on the floor of the venue together. So yeah, I loved him. I mean, everybody should take the time to listen to your conversations with him because he's a joy. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll get the opportunity to nerd out at some point again in the future about some music stuff.
Well, as I said, as soon as Rosetta is putting out new stuff, just get Armin and you on the show, and I'm all up for it.
I'll say this. Vocals are being recorded.
So when I say this, 2026 should be a good year, right? Huh?
Right now, as we speak, Eric, and Armand and Matt are in Austin, Texas, right now, recording vocals for the next Rosetta album. So
sounds very good, very promising, yes. Very promising. So, Dave, enjoy the rest of your show. For me, this is a 2025 wrap. When you're watching this, it's early 2026. I hope you all got well into the new year. I hope you get well into the new year, and talk to you soon, my friend.
Thanks. Take care. Have a good one.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.